Floyd Mayweather head movement versus Canelo Alvarez. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys smash the like button, throw a like up on the video. Now, I want to talk about this. Canelo has a difficult fight ahead of him in November against Caleb Plant. I've heard miscellaneous things from fans. Some people counting Caleb Plant out. Some people says he has a chance. And what inspired this particular video is, on record, if you look at Canelo's box rec, and I know some people would dispute this, but on record, he has one loss. So I think it's imperative to look at that one loss against Floyd Mayweather. Easy work. I ain't got to worry about it. And analyze that in detail. What made Floyd successful on that given night? Floyd has certain things defensively that he's capable of doing, and I want to kind of analyze that in this particular video. So subscribe to the channel if it's your first time hearing my voice, like, and let's get started. So Caleb Plant, we got to first start off with what he said. Caleb Plant, he did a recent interview, and he sounds highly confident, which is something that I like. You can't train confidence. I mean, you can train confidence, but some fighters just exude it. You can't fake confidence, I guess is a better way to phrase it. So what did he have to say? This is what he had to say. He says, honestly, Canelo, he's looked beatable in a lot of his bigger fights. He looked beatable against Erislandy Lara. Facts. He got schooled by Floyd Mayweather, which brings us to this video. Facts. Canelo, he lost the first fight to Triple G, and it was a really close fight the second time that he fought Gennady.
Had no guys, had Max, yeah, everybody, yeah.
Right? So he says, I can assure you, I'm nobody to play with. And if he feels that he's got an easy fight, then guess what? He got another thing coming. Now, by now, a lot of y'all have seen the clips of him with Andre Ward out of the Bay Area, retired undefeated. I personally think that's a great look, because at the end of the day, Andre Ward is a very successful guy, a knowledgeable guy, someone I know personally, and he's dedicated to his craft. He dedicated his whole career to his craft with extraordinary wins. So if you're gonna take a fight like a Canelo fight, which is Caleb Plant's biggest payday, you want payday, I know that, right? It's his biggest payday, biggest opportunity, fights. He's been calling for the big fights, and this is that moment. So he's gonna have to be locked in. So teaming up with Andre Ward, I would say, is never a bad thing. Now, if you look at the Floyd versus Canelo fight, I think what set Floyd apart was his ability to anticipate. What I seen from Floyd Mayweather in them early rounds was Floyd, he wanted to test the waters with Canelo Alvarez, and I can't actually play this for copyright reasons, but he wanted to test the waters with Canelo Alvarez to see what the kid was made of. So Floyd came out pretty aggressive in those early rounds. He came up aggressive, I would say the first 2 or 3 rounds. I got to watch the whole fight, and then he seen that Canelo can box probably better than he anticipated. So Floyd kind of got back to more of a boxer-puncher stance. And then by the mid-fight, I think he had really figured out Canelo and got his timing down, and that was that. But if you look at how Floyd came out, and I think one of the things that Floyd did that made him successful was he was able to use good upper body movement, good legs interchangeably, use things like his defense and head movement, but also very offensive. People don't give Floyd his credit for his offensive prowess, right? This is the Showtime keys to victory. They said Floyd Mayweather has to stay off the ropes, don't trade hooks, and land the right. He definitely landed the right all night with Canelo Alvarez, right? And even when he languished on the ropes, Canelo couldn't do nothing with him. So you look at Mayweather had a tight defense throughout this whole fight, head movement, right? Canelo with the high guard. Mayweather, look at the spacing. Spacing and distance is very imperative in the sport of boxing. Mayweather is in position to still throw and anticipate, and that's what Mayweather does very well. Boom, counters. Let's go. Canelo, he's seen quickly that Mayweather was on a different level with the ring IQ. You see Mayweather jabbing his way in. Now, I think Caleb Plant, one thing he could do is mimic some of these things from Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has a defense, but so does Caleb Plant. Look, it's all about the spacing. Controlling the real estate, making Canelo reset. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but some people think Canelo has improved. But I think it's a culmination. I think he's matured as a fighter for sure. But I think the notion that Canelo Alvarez is a night and day different fighter is grossly overstated. Because at the end of the day, the only way to show and prove if you're a night and day completely different fighter is to have fought similar fights and similar styles. And when he tried to fight a similar style, look at, man, I'm single. Nigga had to cancel that bit like Nino. I ain't tripping on nothing. I'm sipping on something. And my homeboy say he got a bad bit. I mean, that night they got that boy Lil Wayne, Weezy F baby, and the F is for for fire. I'm the fire, man. For fire, man. Make sure y'all smash the like button. I'm from Apple and Eagle Street. You heard, man. Sorry. That's funny. Look at Wayne. He looked unimpressed. So Mayweather brought the stars out. Let's go. Mayweather Canelo fight brought the stars out. Nigga had that cancel that. Floyd works extremely well under duress, under pressure. Caleb Plant, what he's going to have to do is embody some of that same stuff and work well under pressure. Canelo is his punch variety and his abilities are clearly there. Look at Floyd with the high guard, right? And then I'm gonna break this fight down with Caleb Plant a lot more. Look, offset your fighter's rhythm. Look at Floyd offsetting Canelo so he can't get comfortable. Floyd will take a lap when needed. Look at the spacing. I think that Caleb Plant, and for the record, so we're all clear, because I don't want to see stupid stuff in the comment section. I'm not comparing Floyd to Caleb Plant. They're two different fighters, and they fight their own style, things like that. But what I am saying is you haven't seen Canelo really in with somebody since the Lotta fight probably that I would rate, and I would rate them being in prime, them having foot speed and good legs and ring IQ and defense and confidence since probably the Mayweather. Look at Floyd was just toying with him, giving him too many different looks. This is what Canelo is going to be dealing with when it comes to Caleb Plant, I believe. As long as Caleb Plant uses his punches well and wisely, uses some head movement, stays away from counters, I think this will be an interesting fight. You see marks under Canelo's face and things like that. As the fight wore on, Floyd gained confidence. For Caleb Plant, I think one of the biggest, this is about round 5. One of the big things for Caleb Plant is don't let Canelo Alvarez have too much early success, like drop you and get off to a bad start. So it's not like it's going to be necessarily easy work for Caleb Plant. But use head movement. Don't take maximum, big shots, big damaging shots early. And I think this is going to be an interesting fight because you see as the fight wore on, Floyd started flexing. He started flexing, dropped his hands. Caleb Plant drops his hands. They call him sweet hands. This is going to be a good fight, y'all. I'm looking forward to it. I don't rate Billy Joe Saunders. Like Billy Joe Saunders is like a, how do you say it? It's like a knockoff of the style of the Floyd Mayweather style. I think this is just my honest opinion. I think Caleb Plant has an American boxing style. Billy Joe Saunders has like a knockoff European version of an American style. And it's worked well for him in 30 fights or whatever it was. But against Canelo was far too much. But look at these things, and I'll continue breaking it down. Look at the head movement from Floyd. Staying away from the big shots or rolling with the punches, using good defense, keeping the spacing, giving different looks, using legs. I mean, these are the things that Caleb Plant is going to have to do in order to, who's that? In order to beat a guy like Canelo. Because like I said, I think the notion that Canelo is, far removed from some of the things that gave him problems, I don't agree with that. I think a good jab that's why fights like Jermall Charlo, a bigger, strong guy. David Benavidez, he has a good jab and he's bigger. That's gonna really give Canelo problems because Canelo has had stamina issues. Tim Bradley talked about it, I talked about it. I don't know what happened to his stamina issues, but in the past, when Canelo has to work at an uncomfortable pace, bro, they got my boy Jack Nicholson in the crowd. Well, give the man a hand. Where did he get those wonderful toys? Bro, shout out to my boy Jack, avid boxing fan. So many different ways to break down the fight. I'll continue to do so on my channel. But I think head movement, a jab, controlling the real estate, not letting Canelo get into a major rhythm, resetting. These are all going to be, who's that? Damn. These are all going to be pivotal things. And I think, again, I'm not saying Caleb Plant fights like Mayweather, but I think he can use some of the strategy employed. And I think he does some of these things, or he can do them. It's in his arsenal. So we're going to see how this fight plays out. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'm looking forward to this fight. Undisputed for all the marbles. Good fight. Good contrast to styles. Canelo, he has improved, but I also think it's overstated. How much has he improved? Do we really know? Because he hasn't really fought the Ladas of the world and the Mayweathers of the world since those fights. And both of those fights, he didn't show no crazy separation. Even in the Danny Jacobs fight, and he got off to a slow start, Canelo Alvarez didn't just blow him out the water. That's a fight that went the distance. So I don't know where some people are getting their opinions of this fight, but I'll be breaking it down more on my channel. We'll give you both sides of the spectrum, what Canelo and Caleb Plant both can do. Subscribe to the channel. I'm the illest. Peace. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We work.